I thought I knew who I was. Raised by my grandma after my mum passed, I never asked too many questions. Life was simple, until I let my mum's old friend rent our basement. A quiet, lonely man who always had this weird look in his eyes when he saw me. I thought he was just sad. I had no idea the truth would destroy everything I believed. When I was 9, my mum died in a car accident. I don't remember much except the funeral and my grandma's tight hug that night. Since then, it's just been me and her. She's tough. The no-nonsense, casserole-making, church basement sale kind of tough. I'm 26 now, working part-time at a hardware store, still living in her house in upstate New York. A few months ago, Grandma mentioned that an old friend of my mum's needed a place to stay. Said his name was Rick. He'd fallen on hard times. Seemed harmless enough, quiet, maybe a little too quiet. Mid-40s, always wore these old flannel shirts like he got stuck in the 90s. Lived down in the basement, barely came up, except for coffee in the morning. I thought it was just temporary. But then, Rick started acting weird around me, like staring too long, asking questions about my childhood, and always watching when I looked at old photos of my mom. One night, I was digging through an old photo box in the attic, just bored, looking for pictures of my mom when she was young. There was this one picture of her at the beach, probably early 20s, with her arm around some guy whose face was half in shadow. You couldn't see much, but something about his jawline looked familiar. I brought the photo downstairs and showed it to Grandma. "Who's this guy with Mom?" I asked. She barely glanced at it. "Old friend. Don't remember his name. Could have been a co-worker." But her voice had this strange tightness, like her throat was closing. She didn't look me in the eye, and I swear she shuffled the photo back into the box faster than necessary. Later that night, Rick came upstairs for coffee. When he saw the same photo sitting on the kitchen counter, he froze, like stopped breathing frozen. He reached for it, but didn't touch it, just stared for a long second. "Where'd you find this?" he asked, real quiet. "In the attic." "Why?" He didn't answer, just gave a half smile and said, "You look a lot like your mum," and then he walked back downstairs. That night, I couldn't sleep. A few days later, I worked a long shift unloading lumber and came home sore and tired. Grandma was out at bingo night, and the house was weirdly quiet. I was about to crash on the couch when I heard movement from the basement, not the usual shuffling, like someone pacing. Restless. I don't know why, but I went down there. Rick's door was open. He was sitting on the edge of his bed, holding that same photo. He didn't hear me at first, so I knocked on the frame. He jumped, then quickly sat, the photo face down on the mattress. "You okay?" I asked. He gave a slow nod. "Yeah, just remembering things." There was a long silence. I was halfway up the stairs again when I turned back. "Did you love my mom?" Rick blinked, caught off guard. "Yeah," he said, almost a whisper. "Yeah, I did." "Were you together?" He rubbed his face like he was trying to scrub the years off it. "It's complicated." That word again. Complicated. Adults always say that when they're hiding something. Then he looked at me, really looked at me, and asked, "Do you know who your dad is?" That question sat in the air like smoke. I shook my head. "Didn't think so," he said quietly. The next morning, I couldn't stop thinking about what Rick said. I asked Grandma straight up while she was making eggs, "Who's my dad?" She paused mid-scramble, her back still turned. Didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then, like someone flipped a switch, she slammed the spatula down. "I told you. He left. That's all you need to know." Her voice cracked, just a little, and her hand was shaking. I didn't back down this time. "Rick said you knew him." She turned around slowly. Her face was pale. "Rick said that?" "Yeah," I said. "And I think he knows more than he's telling me." She sat down hard, in the kitchen chair, like her legs gave out. I didn't want this to come back. I prayed it wouldn't. I was confused. What come back? Then she looked me straight in the eyes, not angry, just tired. Your mum, she was in love with Rick, but he wasn't around when you were born. He left, disappeared. She was heartbroken. My hands went cold. Are you saying Rick's my... She nodded. Slowly, like the weight of it was dragging her down. He's your father, Kyle. The next few days were weird. I didn't talk to Rick. He didn't talk to me. We passed each other in the hallway like strangers at a bus stop. Grandma acted like everything was normal, making toast and humming to herself, but her eyes wouldn't meet mine. I felt like I was living in someone else's memory. At breakfast, I sat across from Rick for the first time since I found out. He poured himself coffee, like nothing had changed, but something was different. In his face, his body language, like he was bracing for something. Finally, I said it. You're my dad. He didn't flinch, just nodded. Quiet. Why didn't you ever say anything? I asked, my voice tight. I didn't think I deserved to, he said. I left your mom when she needed me most. I was scared, young, selfish. By the time I realized what I'd done, it was too late. I wanted to yell, throw my cup across the room. Instead, I just asked, why now? He looked up at me, and there were tears in his eyes. Because I wanted to know the man you became, and for some reason, that hurt worse than anything. I couldn't sleep again that night. My mind was a mess, part of me angry, part of me just numb. Around midnight, I climbed back into the attic, looking for answers. I don't know what I thought I'd find, but I needed something real, something from her. I started going through the boxes more carefully this time. Behind a stack of old blankets, I found a shoebox wrapped in rubber bands. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to Rick Harris, my dad. The postmarks were from 1998 to 2002. The last one was never opened. I sat on the dusty attic floor and started reading. Letter after letter from my mum, telling him about her pregnancy, how scared she was, how she still loved him, how she hoped he'd come back. The letters got more desperate, then distant, and finally angry, then nothing. That unopened letter at the bottom, it was different. It was from my grandma, dated a month after my mum's funeral. It said, if you ever show your face around, here again, I will make sure Kyle never knows who you are. He deserves better than a ghost for a father. My chest tightened. She lied to protect me, or maybe to punish him. The next morning, I put the unopened letter on the kitchen table. Grandma was pouring cereal when she saw it. She stopped mid-pour, the milk still dripping into the bowl. Found this in the attic, I said. She didn't speak, just sat down slowly, hands folded tight, like she was praying but didn't know how. You never mailed it, I said. You didn't even tell him she died. Her lip quivered. He abandoned her, Kyle. But he came back, and you shut the door. She looked up at me finally. I did what I thought was right. You were a baby. You needed stability, not a man who ran from his own blood. My voice cracked. He didn't even know she died. He didn't get to say goodbye. Neither of us spoke for a while, just the sound of the fridge humming in the background. Then she said, I'm sorry. It was quiet, real, the kind of sorry you don't say unless it's costing you something. I wanted to protect you, she whispered. But maybe I hurt you instead. I nodded slowly. I think it's time I decide who I let in. She didn't fight it. For once, she just let me feel what I needed to feel. A week later, Rick came upstairs with a small box. Said it was mine, if I wanted it. Inside were some old photos of him and my mom, smiling, arms around each other. way before everything fell apart. There was one picture that hit me hard. My mom holding a baby, me, with Rick standing behind her, his hand resting awkwardly on her shoulder. He looked like a kid pretending to be a man, scared, unsure. But there, he spoke quietly. I didn't know how to be a dad back then, but I'd like to try now, if you'll let me. I didn't say anything for a while, just looked at the photo. I don't know how to be a son to you, I finally said, but maybe we can figure it out. He smiled. Not a big one, just the kind that creeps up slow when someone's been waiting years to breathe again. That night, we had dinner. The three of us. Grandma, Rick, and me. It was awkward, silent in spots, but it wasn't cold. Sometimes, healing doesn't come with big speeches. Sometimes it starts with just sitting at the same table,